So far away, and the world isn't over. I hear what you say, and it sounds so sweet. I love all the ways that your words surround me. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. It wasn't the way that your eyes looked inside me, inside all the tears that I can't give away. But now it's too clear that it's now or it's never. 'Cause after all, we'll be so alone. So far away, and the world isn't over. I hear what you say, and it sounds so sweet.
All right, guys, we're back, and we are live. This is really exciting because if any of you guys tuned in during the first live stream, you will know that a ghost took my presets, and actually that was not a ghost. It was that a button had been pressed on my Theramini, and it's back. So now I've got all my presets. I'm going to be able to show them to you. I'm very excited. And we're going to be hanging out. I'm going to be playing music. My name is Clara Venice. I am a theremin player, singer, producer, composer, and Moog lover, and I'm having an amazing time. I don't mean like a lover of Robert Moog. I mean, I love Moog, the company that I'm having a great time here in Asheville, North Carolina, and I would seriously recommend you all to come here if you haven't already and do the tour of the Moog factory, the HQ. These are the nicest people, some of the nicest people I've met in my entire life, and I'm not even joking. So come to Asheville. And I'm from Toronto, actually. I'm not even from here, so I'm not saying, anyway. Please send in your questions, and also, these are my Twitter shoes. They are the world's first shoes that you can tweet to. So feel free to tweet at TwitKickers. That's TwitKickerz or Z, depending on if you're American or Canadian. And you can tweet anything you want, and they will, and you guys will be part of the video, and you will have your brilliant ideas come across this shoe. We have a question, so this is cool. What are the inspirations for your persona? So right now, I'm in character because it's Halloween, and well, it's almost Halloween, and I decided to be Sailor Moog. So Sailor Moon is one of my favorite cartoons ever. And so I guess this is a weird question for me because persona like implies, I guess it depends how you mean persona. Like to me, persona implies something that you put on. This is me. Like if you go to my socials or you watch my YouTube videos or anything like that, I mean, that's me. So that's me all the time. And I dress like this, you know, well, not exactly in Sailor Moon, but I mean the outfit I was wearing before, whatever. I like to dress up every day and be a character. And I guess the character is me. I cosplay as myself. And I do have 4 personas that are my bandmates because I'm a multi-instrumentalist. So when I perform, I've got 4 projections, and that's Clara Venus, Clara Vegas, Clara Volume, and Clara Vixen. And I do, the last video that I put out called Satellites features these 4 girls, and they all do have their own personalities, but me personally, I guess Clara Venice, I'm inspired by Japanese, like Harajuku culture and fashion, and I love all things cute, and I don't know, I feel like I'm inspired by everything, by, you know, going to the airport and seeing somebody with cool hair and being like, oh, and, you know, everything just gets filed away. But I it's a really hard question for me because I just feel like this is just who I am. And as I said, musically, that's a whole other story. But I think it's cool to get your inspiration wherever it appears. And I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry. So the theremin, we can go back over the basics just in case anybody is tuning in who wasn't here for the first live stream. This is the only instrument that you play without touching it. It has 2 antennas that you use to control the sound. And so this one over here is the pitch antenna. And this antenna, if you move your hand close to this antenna, the pitch will get higher. And if you move your hand away, it'll get lower. And the volume antenna is over here on the left, and if you raise your hand away from this antenna, the sound will get louder, and if you bring it closer, the sound will get quieter. So, and then basically you use your mind to imagine the note that you want to play, and you make that note appear. So and so essentially it's like an instrument that you're playing with your intentions, with your with your mind, and with your body's energy, which is kind of cool. And this theremin is very special because it is the newest theremin. It's called the Theramini, and this instrument has not only the classic theremin sound, which you will recognize from films like anytime an alien appears, basically, you hear a theremin. Also, you know that Good Vibrations, a lot of people think that Good Vibrations features a theremin, and it's not a theremin. It's actually an electro theremin, which is a completely different instrument. A lot of people think that, yeah, I'm here to, you know, bust the myths, and I'm sorry if anybody was holding on to that one, but it's actually a myth. Anyway, it's used a lot in films to signify aliens or the uncanny or things like that. But you can actually use it in a lot of different ways. Oh, we've got another question. How do you play the Western scale on theremin? For example, how do you play a C? Well, so if you imagine, this is the best way for me to describe it, is that imagine that there's a very long invisible string that's coming out of this antenna. And basically you would, you know, if you've ever played a guitar or a violin, you move your fingers up and down that string in order to play your different notes. So the theremin's the same, it's just that the string's invisible. So if you, for example, wanted to play a C, well, the Theramini makes it very easy because it'll tell you actually on the screen what note you're playing. But essentially, you know, if you want to play a C, you play a C, and then you just find the next interval. And then you're playing the notes of the scale, but you're finding them in space. However, if you just keep that idea in your head of this long invisible string, then I think that it kind of becomes something that, you know, as long as you can envision it, basically, then... You basically make the music just happen out of thin air. That's why it's magical. It's like the best instrument ever. I mean, how does it? Yeah. Okay, we've got another question. What's the craziest sound you can make on a theremin? Okay, this perfect. I'm glad you asked because I've got my presets back. So this Theramini does not only do the classic theremin alien sound, it also does a bunch of other tricks. And for example, you can play. Like that's kind of crazy. Let's see. I just found a really cool one. Yeah, 31 is. So a lot of these presets, it's kind of like having a synth. So this is like because it's half synth and half theremin. It's like a synthesizer you control with your hands as if it were, just a theremin. They get a little bit crazy when you start adding. There's also built-in effects here, so. I've got a song that uses this preset, so maybe I will play it.
Take back the things that I said. Threatening to take your best friend to bed. I know when I've crossed that line into hell. But you called things that I didn't take well. Now our hearts will only be sold by time. Now our hearts will only be sold by time. and then scream some more. You grabbed all your clothes and you walked out the door. You said you were going to some cheap hotel, and left me lonely to scream and to yell. Now our hearts will only be solved by time. Now our hearts will only be solved by time. Now our hearts will only be solved by time. Now our hearts will only be solved by time. Hearts will only be solved by time. Yeah, so that's a song with the preset 27 Future Wars.
And what else? Let's see. Oh yeah, you can keep tweeting to the shoes. Twit kickers. Is there anything there? Oh, someone's cat doesn't like the theremin. Oh. Oh, yeah. No, actually, I've got a bunny, and my bunny plays my theremin. It's really, really cute. So you can literally, yeah, like animals. There's a viral video of a cat playing a theremin that people just keep sending me over and over and over and over. And I mean, it is really cute. I played actually at the Internet Cat Video Festival, and that was really fun because I do love cat videos. I didn't know that was a thing, that there was a whole festival, and then, you know, they like win, and there was a whole red carpet with the cats and everything. So that's a thing. And I mean, the theremin also has a lot of frequencies that, you know, a lot of the time, I guess, when people are used to listening to MP3s so much, I find that because MP3s compress our music, and we don't realize that they're cutting off frequencies. If you've ever seen the sound wave that comes out of an MP3, but it's weird and square, whereas, like, you know, the theremin's based on a sine wave, which is like a beautiful thing. It's like a perfect, beautiful wave, and apparently, over time, that listening to the MP3 is not great for your hearing. That's what I've heard. And so, you know, the theremin is really good for that because it's a perfect, beautiful wave. And also, I think it, especially, I'm not sure about the Theramini, but I know for sure the ether wave, which is the other model, the wooden analog model. Sometimes when you play that for people, like at a concert or something, they really start resonating at a certain, and it's people kind of get hypnotized. And I think that part of it is honestly because you're getting all of these frequencies that maybe you don't encounter all the time. Is that possible? I don't know. It's just a theory. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that was really cool, that I think is really cool, is like as a theremin player and performer, and somebody that gets to play this for a lot of people, is that it's one of those things where when you do a concert on the theremin, it's not just picking up my body in terms of like when I play it, yes, I'm using my capacitance to play, but also it's kind of drawing on everyone's energy that's in the room and everybody's capacitance. So essentially, like if I'm playing over here and somebody walks by, like right over here, then they start to affect my playing because they start playing it too, even if they aren't aware of it. And so it's interesting because sometimes I'll do a show and let's say I start playing and people aren't really in their seats yet, and then as I play the first song, more people come in. Literally, like my the instrument changes. So let's say a C was over here when I started, a C will be over here when 10 minutes later. So you're constantly adjusting as a theremin player, and you have to be so kind of attuned and aware of what's going on around you. But you need to adjust a lot. So when people ask me, how do you practice the theremin? I'm like, oh, well, for you do scales and you do arpeggios and you turn on music and play along with it. And there are all these kind of exercises and things that you can do to practice. But one of the other things you can do is just, listen to what's going on around you. You have to be able to adjust really, really fast because you can't rely on muscle memory with the theremin the same way that you can with, the violin, for example, where your intervals are always going to be the same distance apart. And once you get to know your instrument, everything is completely consistent. With the Theramini and the theremin, you can calibrate them so that you roughly know, where your octaves are and everything. And the Theramini is really good for that because you can program in, okay, I want 2 octaves or I want 3 octaves, or I want my highest note to be a D and I want my lowest note to be a D. You can put all of that in. But once you get going and you start, then, all of the factors in your environment can start to affect that. And some people, some thereminists, what they describe not being even able to breathe once you start. You have to be so still. And, if you want all of your intervals to be in the exact same place, then you literally have to stay perfectly still and not breathe. But, I can't really do that. And also, I dance and I move around, so I just am constantly adjusting, but that's part of the fun of it. So looks like we've got a question coming in, and keep asking me your questions. I would love to answer them. Oh, hello from Canada. That's where I'm from, fellow Canadian. Where are you guys from? I'm so curious about live streams. Like, where do people tune in from? So I just put out a couple new singles, and one of them is called Satellites. And I'm gonna play you guys that song now.
Starting out, it was so beautiful. We're like stars in the sky. I've been wishing that I'd find you. Oh, then I looked around and there you are. But the love that we made, that you gave, that we craved for so long, feels so wrong, even though we do so right, baby. You will and you won't find out for certain if you keep wishing on the satellites. You will and you won't find out I love you if you keep pushing me away. my window, and I'm sending you my heart. I could look into your eyes forever and ever and ever. I could turn you into a work of art. But you know that you would, that you could, that you should, but you don't. And I won't fall if I know that you're not there, baby. You will and you won't find out for certain if you keep wishing on the satellites. You will and you won't find out I love you if you keep pushing me away. And you say that you won't find, no, you won't find nobody like. You will and you won't find out for certain if you keep wishing on the satellites. You will and you won't find out I love you if you keep pushing me away. And you say that you won't find, no, you won't find nobody like I love you. And did you know that you love me too? Okay, awesome.
Cool. Okay. Hello from the UK. Hello. Netherlands. Amazing. Italy. New York. Brazil and California. That is so cool. We are like global. Thank you so much for tuning in. Honestly, everybody that's tuning in right now, I'm so happy to see you. I wish that we were all, in the same space together, because it's a bit, I just wish that we were all together, because live streams are really fun, but it's like, I just wish that I could see everybody. But anyway, yeah, somebody asked, can you play your favorite presets? I would love to play my favorite presets. So my favorite preset is classic theremin, because I guess I'm traditional. And so that's this one. But I really love, I really love ribbons. And the thing is about some of these is that you kind of have to have them in context sometimes, because you might find a preset and then think that, that's a weird sound, and I don't know how I'd use that. And then when you find the right place for it, they really come alive. And I should also mention that there's a editor, like a Theramini editor app for the iPad, so that you can actually create your own presets, and you can modify the presets and all that good stuff. So, and the other thing is that some of the presets have, so they've got auto tune kind of built into them. And in those cases, you can change the key of the preset, and you can change the scale of the preset. And so really, this is an incredibly open environment for which, you can just go in and express exactly what you want to hear. But anyway, so ribbons is really cool in the right spot. I really like ethereal. Really pretty. I mean, number 12, All Your Bass. I really love, well, I like Spin Cycle. These, I mean, they sound, it's weird because I'm used to hearing them in context, so I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's really neat, but it sounds, although, so like for example, this is Spin Cycle, the scale is Locrian, and the root is C, right? So I can change that, and I can, for example, do a major pentatonic scale, and I can do that in E. So for example, if you've got a band and you know that you guys are going to be playing a song that's in F, and you want to be fancy and play like a really cool major pentatonic scale and do a solo on the theremin, you can make that happen pretty easily. Like you can make that happen just as easily as I did it. But it's also really cool because if you're playing along with a song, even when you're practicing, and if you wanted to start out with the theremin or the theramini, that's a really good way of doing it. Just figure out what key your song's in, and then and then just put that into the theramini, and I think you'll have a great time. So somebody asked, what effects can you do for theramini? So built into the theramini, there are I believe it's like short delay, long delay, medium delay. What else? Short delay, medium delay, long delay, off. And then once you go into that editor, you can do other things. I use Ableton Live as well, so I run my theremin through Ableton Live, and then within Ableton, I can use any effects that I would use, normally. So, you can use choruses, you can use gates are really cool, you can use literally anything. I put it through Guitar Rig, which is another cool VST that Native Instrument makes, and so that you can put it through all the different amp modulations, and you can use sometimes I put it through really crazy distortion, and that's really cool. So anything that you want to do, you can do with this instrument. And you can also use the theramini to control other instruments using the CV output that it has here. And somebody said, what made you decide to buy and learn your first theremin? Well, we talked about this in the first live stream, which you can also go and watch if you want to hang out some more. But basically, I saw the theremin on stage with another woman, and I just knew that I loved it from the moment I saw it. And then I went out the next day, and I went to a music store in Toronto, where I'm from, and I tried it, and I could basically, it was intuitive to me, I guess. And so I fell in love with it and took it home and just started practicing every day. And honestly, if you've never tried a theremin, just try it. Just go and find one and try it, because I really think that, it's a very, very unique instrument. Even if you think that, I gave up on piano or violin or something, try the theremin, because it's so expressive, and, it's really an instrument that I think you can make your own, and there's so much that you can do with it. The possibilities are really endless, and once you even start combining this instrument with other things, with other, you can use any guitar pedal with a theremin, probably not any, but you can use your guitar pedals with the theremin, you can use looping pedals with the theremin, you can just, do all these amazing things. Somebody asked, can you talk about your right hand technique and how it relates to techniques used by other thereminists? Yes. So when I started learning the theremin, my theremin came with a DVD. I'm not sure if you guys still, if it still comes with the DVD. But my first theremin came with a DVD called Mastering the Theremin, which has some lessons by Clara Rockmore, who is the ultimate, most amazing theremin player, in my opinion. And so she used a technique that was like a finger technique, and I believe that Theremin had that technique, the inventor of the instrument. And so essentially, so in that scenario, you would use your fingers, like again, what I was speaking about before about this long invisible string, it's even more violin-like. So, and then they tend to do the kind of like the okay symbol. And then you can get a lot of articulation that way. You can have like it's almost like you can put your finger into place in a more deliberate way. And so if you wanted to, for example, play a piece that has a lot of more staccato kind of articulated notes, then that technique would be really good for you. I guess for the technique that I use is just what works for me, because I'm writing all my own music and I'm creating these soundscapes. And when I play the theremin, I hear the theremin as another voice within that. And I think because I'm a singer as well, and I use the theremin in my own music a lot as like a backup vocal or another vocal line, that a lot of my technique just takes on that kind of role. So I'm more like, I really like those slides. I do that with my voice too. Like I love sliding to a note, like the kind of Frank Sinatra glide, and so my technique, I use that a lot. Sometimes, depending on the part that I'm playing, I might use my fingers if it's required by that part. But the beauty of it is that you can learn all of the techniques that are out there, and then you can take the things that work for you and that make sense, and then you can create your own technique, which is so liberating. Somebody asked, can I use a theremin as a MIDI controller for other instruments? Greetings from Mexico. Hello, Mexico. Yeah, you can't with this. And it's something that I really would love to be able to do. So it depends, but it depends what you mean. Like what I think confuses some people is that there is a MIDI input here, but that's to use the program app that allows you to do your own presets and everything. So as far as I know, that won't work in let's say I've got a VST or something like that in my computer, like in Ableton, and I want to control that synth VST or something using the theremin. But I have to double check, and I'm not 100% sure, but that would definitely be something that I would want to happen, because that would be amazing. Well, you can. There's a little MIDI controller called a guitar wing that my friend Moldover developed, and it's like a little MIDI controller that you can add to a guitar. It was intended for the guitar, but I want to, add the little MIDI controller to the theremin, which wouldn't allow me to use the theremin to control MIDI, but it would give me some like cool controls, and I could do some stuff with it, on the theremin. So, yeah, that's a good question, though. Are you already a musician? When I met the theremin. I love how that question is worded. When I met the theremin, was I already with someone else? Yeah. Yes, I started playing violin when I was 4. And I played violin. I still play violin. I love the violin. I started playing electric violin when I was like 14, and I play guitar, I play keyboard, I don't play keyboard that well, but I really like string instruments, and I studied voice classically as well. So to me, the theremin, the kind of beauty of it is for me, it's like the junction of a voice and a violin. And so a lot of techniques that you would use for vocals or for violin, you can also apply to the theremin. But I mean, I've met trombone players who are like, oh yeah, the trombone's like a theremin. So, and I can totally see that because they have the slide and they are finding these notes along the slide. So I think, you know, if you are already a musician, that would help, you know, a little bit. But also if you're not a musician already, this would be the kind of instrument that would be an awesome place to start, especially the Theramini, because the Theramini, as I mentioned, it shows you the notes that you're playing, and it really makes it easy to learn. It also does, I haven't focused on this because, but it does have built in a kind of auto-tune function. Now, the auto-tune is like a little bit controversial because some people, you know, don't, it's as if it's cheating, but the thing is that you can use auto-tune for an effect too, like and it doesn't, I don't think, take away from the legitimacy of this instrument. It just adds another possibility to it. So, for example, like right now, the auto-tune's on. You can hear the auto-tune. So you're not going to fool anyone into, you know, thinking that you can play all of the notes without auto-tune while it's on, because it's a theremin. So you're never going to get that smooth slide. You're never going to be able to do that with auto-tune on. But when you're learning the theremin, the auto-tune really, really helps in order for you to get the hang of like how the intervals work and how to play a scale. And what you can actually do that I think would be a really helpful technique would be that you can set the Theramini to play 1 octave, and then you can turn on the auto-tune, and that will give you a lot of space between each interval, and then you can move your hand very slowly up the invisible string, and you can hear all of those different intervals. And then once you get good at that, set your theremin for 2 octaves and do the same thing. And then, you know, I always have my theremin set to 2.5 octaves because that's like the average range of a human voice. So to me, that's a really nice sweet spot, although this can go up to 4 octaves, or this one can do like 6 octaves, which would be crazy because your intervals would be so small. But yeah, that's one more song. Yeah. Cool. I guess we're okay. Yeah, let's do another song and then we'll see what happens.
Days go by and float into the ocean, but I always said that we will live forever, just until we met. I thought I'd live alone. Don't be scared if the sun explodes. I'll be where you are. When I look at you and too far and fly away forever. 'Cause I'm just like you, you know it's true. It feels so nice whenever you are near me. You understand the weirdest things about me, and I will tell all our darkest secrets. But it's up to us whether we believe it. So don't be scared if the sun explodes. I'll be where you are. When I look at you and you know it's true, it feels just like forever. You're a time machine, an electric dream where I could stay forever. You're a shooting star, let's go too far and fly away forever. 'Cause I'm just like you, you know it's true. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with us this afternoon. My name is Clara Venice. I hope that you guys stay in touch. I'm at Clara Venice everywhere. I've got a YouTube channel here, and I love Theremin, music, Moog, Sailor Moon, and you. So thank you.